You are lying in bed right now and it hits you again. Not something that happened today. Not something that happened this week. Something that happened 3 years ago. Maybe 5. Maybe in middle school. An awkward thing you said at the wrong moment. A stumble in front of people. A silence that lasted 2 seconds too long. A joke that did not land. A wave back at someone who was waving at someone else. And your body reacts like it is happening right now. Your chest tightens. A wave of heat moves through your face. You close your eyes harder, like that will stop it. It does not stop it. The scene plays again. The exact words. The exact faces. The exact moment you wished the floor would open underneath you. You were not thinking about this. You were not trying to remember it. It just arrived, uninvited, at full volume, and it pulled you out of sleep or out of a perfectly good afternoon. Here is what you are probably thinking right now. You are thinking that something is wrong with you. That other people do not do this. That mentally healthy, confident people do not lie awake torturing themselves over a moment that everyone else forgot about the same day it happened. You are thinking that you need to just let it go. That you are too sensitive. That you should be over this by now. You are also thinking there is something almost embarrassing about the embarrassment itself. That it is childish to still feel this. That you should be past it. You are not broken. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your head when this occurs, those moments lose most of their power. Later in this video, you will learn a simple technique that literally changes the way your brain files and retrieves these memories. It takes about 15 seconds. It works because of how the brain physically stores emotional experience. But first, you need to understand why this happens at all. Your brain did not evolve to make you happy. It evolved to keep you alive. And for the vast majority of human history, staying alive meant staying inside the group. Tribes. Families. Communities. If you were cast out of the group, you died. It was not a metaphor. Exclusion was a death sentence. Cold. Starvation. Predators. Alone, a human being had almost no chance. So your brain developed one of the most powerful threat detection systems ever built, and that system was not pointed at lions or storms. It was pointed at other people. At rejection. At humiliation. At moments where your social standing might slip, or others might see you as less capable, less reliable, less worthy of inclusion. That system is still running. Right now. In your head. When you stumble over a word in a meeting, your brain does not just log it and move on. It flags it. It reviews it. It replays it at night, in the quiet, when there is nothing else demanding your attention, because that ancient system is trying to do something useful. It is trying to study the footage. Extract the lesson. Prevent it from happening again. Think of it like your brain's internal security department watching the surveillance tape on loop. Not out of cruelty. Out of vigilance. A neuroscientist named Elizabeth Phelps spent years studying how the brain processes emotional memory. What she and her colleagues proved, through dozens of experiments, is that the brain physically burns negative emotional memories deeper into long-term storage than neutral or even positive ones. The more emotionally charged the moment, the more neurotransmitters and stress hormones flood the brain, and the more vividly and permanently that moment gets encoded. An awkward conversation does not just enter memory the way a grocery list does. It arrives with a full chemical signature. Elevated cortisol. Adrenaline. A spike in norepinephrine. These chemicals act like a highlighter on the memory trace. They say, this was important. Remember this. Your brain tags social failure the same way it tags physical danger. Because for 100,000 years, they were the same thing. And then there is the other side. The moments you wish you remembered more. The afternoon when everything felt right. The compliment that actually landed. The conversation that left you warm and loose and easy. These slip. They fade within hours. You have to try to remember them. Rick Hanson, a neuropsychologist who has spent decades studying this asymmetry, described it this way: the brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. The bad sticks. The good slides off. This is not a flaw in your personality. It is a design feature from a time when failing to remember a threat could get you killed, but failing to remember a pleasant afternoon cost you nothing. The problem is you no longer live on the savannah. You live in a world where a bad moment in front of people will not actually end your life. But your brain does not know that. Your threat detection system cannot read the calendar. It does not know that the people in that room have already forgotten what you said, that the wave you returned to the wrong person has dissolved from every memory except your own. It is still running the old code. It is still treating social discomfort like a survival event. And here is the part that makes it worse. The more you try not to think about the embarrassing moment, the more you think about it. This is not weakness. This is a well-documented feature of how suppression works. Daniel Wegner at Harvard studied this for years, and what his research consistently showed is that instructing yourself not to think about something makes you think about it more. He called it the rebound effect. The white bear problem. Try not to think about a white bear, and that is all you can think about. When the memory surfaces and you flinch and try to push it away, you are essentially flagging it again. You are sending the signal, this is still dangerous, still unresolved, still worth monitoring. And your brain obliges. It brings it back. The memory is not tormenting you. It is waiting for resolution. This is why some people carry these moments for decades. Because every time the memory surfaces and they push it down, they reinforce its importance. The brain interprets your reaction to the memory as data. High emotional reaction equals high threat level equals high priority for continued monitoring. Martin Conway, a cognitive psychologist who studies autobiographical memory, found that the memories people most often involuntarily revisit are not random. They cluster around moments of self-discrepancy. Moments where who you were in that second did not match who you believed yourself to be. The word you mispronounced in front of people when you consider yourself articulate. The thing you said that sounded unkind when you think of yourself as someone considerate. The stumble when you value composure. The bigger the gap between the moment and your self-image, the louder the memory plays. This is actually useful information. Because it tells you something true about yourself. It tells you what you value. The fact that the moment still hurts means you care about how you show up. People who genuinely do not care how they affect others do not replay awkward moments. The replaying is evidence of conscience. Of investment in who you are. But that knowledge alone does not stop the loop. Here is what does. Your brain has a quirk in how it stores emotional memories that most people never learn to use. Every time a memory is retrieved, it temporarily becomes unstable. It enters what neuroscientists call reconsolidation. For a short window, usually a few hours, the memory is literally rewritten before it is stored again. It picks up whatever is emotionally present during that window. This means the memory is not fixed. It is not a photograph sealed in glass. It is more like a document that gets reopened, slightly edited, and then resaved each time you access it. If you access the memory in a state of shame and anxiety, it gets resaved with a deeper shame signature. If you access it in a state of calm, or even warmth, the emotional charge begins to weaken. The memory stays, but its power over your nervous system slowly decreases. This is why talking about embarrassing moments with people you trust often makes them feel smaller. It is not just that you got it off your chest. It is that you accessed the memory in a context of warmth and acceptance, and your brain literally rewrote its emotional tag. Rick Hanson built a practice around this principle. He called it taking in the good. When a positive experience arises, even a small one, hold it in your conscious attention for at least 15 to 30 seconds. Do not rush past it. Let it settle. Feel the specific sensation in your body. That extended attention gives the positive memory enough time and chemical presence to actually encode a depth rather than sliding off the Teflon surface. And for the negative memories, when one surfaces, you do not have to perform acceptance or pretend you do not feel what you feel. The technique is simpler. The moment you catch yourself looping on the same moment again, replaying the apology, replaying the stumble, replaying the silence, recognize it out loud if you can. Name it. This is my brain trying to protect me. It is flagging something I care about. And then stay with it for one breath without flinching. Not to dwell. Just to not push. That single act of not pushing tells your nervous system, this moment is not a current threat. The surveillance tape can stop now. Over time, the signal weakens. The replay becomes less frequent. The heat in your chest when it surfaces becomes less intense. The memory does not disappear. But it loses its alarm. You will still remember the moment. But it will stop arriving like an emergency. Here is what actually matters. Every person you have ever admired, every person who seems effortlessly composed, carries a version of what you carry. They have a reel somewhere. Moments they would erase if they could. Social missteps they wake up thinking about. The difference is not that their brain works differently. It is that they have, usually without ever learning the neuroscience, found ways to let the memory cycle through without amplifying it. And now you know why the loop happens. You know it is not a character flaw. You know it is a 100,000-year-old protection system that cannot read the room. Tonight, if you lie in bed and it comes back again, the exact moment, the exact face, the exact cringe, let it. Just for one breath, do not push it away. Look at it like the ancient alarm it is. Notice that it points at something you care about. And then notice something small that is fine right now. The temperature of the room. The sound of nothing. The fact that you are still here. You were not broken back then. You were human. You still are.